My name is Angashi and welcome back to my channel. This video is a little bit different from all the other videos I've done before. It's a video that was kind of suggested by Ashley because she said she'd like to go for a wedding with me. But considering she's not the only one who's asked if they can come help me out at a wedding, I don't see how it will work out, like having a list of people who've requested to come help me out at a wedding. It would be kind of hard for me to do so with everyone because unlike birthdays, weddings are every weekend, but I'm not usually booked every weekend. Fingers crossed one day I will be. And so it would take, even if I was booked every weekend, it would take a very long time for everyone who's requested to help me out at a wedding before I get to like the next person. It might take a while, and maybe you might have thought you were the first one to request, but you're 15th on the list. So yeah, since that will take a really long time, Ashley suggested that I do a vlog type of thing where I explain like my process from when I start getting ready for the wedding until delivery. So that's what I've done in this video. This is me in the future. I was meant to have done this intro part on the day of delivery, but I will explain when we get to that day what actually happened and why I didn't end up filming. So basically the entire video is, I'll explain just like few steps, and then the rest of the video is just going to be more of a time lapse. Hello, hi, welcome back. Today is Wednesday. I'm going to start on the wedding cake prep, and as I said, I'm going to take you along with how I start. So I'm working backwards. I need to deliver the cake on Friday, so on Thursday I'm going to be decorating, and today I'm going to be baking and DIYing my stands because I need white box stands and I don't have those, so I'm going to just DIY some. And yeah, so first thing I'm going to do is write a to-do list of everything I need to do today and tomorrow, so that it's easier for me to work with a time frame and to make sure I've done everything that I need to do. So today, day one, basically I have to bake all the cakes and wrap them so that they're still moist when I'm decorating tomorrow. So first thing I prefer to do is write down my to-do list. So I'm writing down everything that I'd like to do for each day so that it's easier for me to know I've ticked off everything, and also to help me like plan out my time, because if I know what I'm supposed to do, it will be easier for me to know where to start and what's the easiest to start on and what's the easiest to finish with. So first thing I did, as my cake batter was going, I prepared my cake tins, greased and lined them with greaseproof paper. Weighed all my cake mix because I need each layer to be roughly the same height. Also, because I've made a big batch to go for all the cakes, I need to make sure I've poured correctly so that none of my cakes is too small. Once I finished weighing all the vanilla ones, I just baked them. While the vanilla cakes were baking, I worked on the chocolate cake, and that's what I'm pouring into my tins now. Once all my cakes were done baking, I let them cool for approximately 45 minutes to an hour, and then I removed them from the tins so that I could wrap them. Usually when I'm wrapping my cakes, I wrap with the bottom greaseproof paper still on, but then I remove the ones that are usually on the side of the tin. Those ones I don't wrap with, because I notice sometimes when I wrap with them, my cake loses shape. With the chocolate cake, because chocolate cakes are usually a little bit more moist, I usually place a cake board underneath the cling film so that I can drop the cake onto the board, because it's usually extremely hard with a chocolate cake to flip it. It stresses me out so much, so I'd rather work with a board than I'll use the board as my thing for flipping the cake. Once I finish wrapping all my cakes, I go put them in the fridge to chill until I'm ready to ice them tomorrow. So from the time I filmed me saying what I'm going to do until when I put the cakes in the fridge, because that's the last thing I did on that day, I started at 8:27 and I was done at 2:20. Today's Thursday, and honest to God, I genuinely don't like the day before delivery, because I'm usually way in my head, and I don't know. I managed to do everything that I needed to do yesterday, including making my DIY cake stands, and I don't hate them, but I genuinely don't think I'm going to use them. So I'm going to try find an alternative or two, just in case I end up genuinely not wanting to use them by delivery time tomorrow. Plan for the day is I have to do cupcakes and then decorate. I have to make 100 cupcakes today. The order is for 80 cupcakes, but I'm going to make 100 just in case anything happens to the, like, usually what I'm doing for weddings, I don't know if it's bad luck. The paper peels off, well, either I'm taking them off the cupcake thing or when I'm packing them in the boxes. So I never make the exact number I'm supposed to deliver. I always make more. So I'm aiming to do 100. Anyway, I'm not against making over the number that was ordered because she wanted some cupcakes on a stand. Sorry about my dogs. But she also wants some cupcakes boxed up so that it's easier to serve on the tables. So I'm thinking of doing, instead of 80, just 100. So it's what she wants and what's easy for me and those who are going to be distributing the cupcakes. Today I have to write my checklist so that I make sure I don't forget anything, especially since I started shopping for this wedding in December. Today is Jan 27th and I started shopping, I think, before Christmas. I think the weekend before Christmas weekend, the deck 18th there. That's when I started getting things. To-do list for today is bake 100 cupcakes, decorate the cakes and the cupcakes, get my flowers delivered, and then start packing up everything because the wedding is going to be a little earlier than usual. So I don't want to wake up tomorrow to do anything other than putting the flowers on the cake and putting the items in the car. That's all I'm hoping to do tomorrow morning. I don't want to have last minute packing or panic packing because that's how I always end up forgetting things like a fork, a plate. So I'm hoping it's 8:30 a.m. and I want to start working now. Hopefully be done baking by 11 because I'm feeling a little lazy, and then be done decorating by 1 because it's semi-naked cake, so I'm not worried about that. And then pack up everything. Hopefully by 4 p.m. I'm ready for tomorrow. I started immediately with cupcakes, and since I'm making since I'm working on a lot of cupcakes at a go, I prefer to use this Juakali cupcake thingies because in my big oven it means I can put in 70 pieces into the oven simultaneously.
Until something's proven empirically.
As usual, I started with vanilla.
Concepts, whatever your conceptual ideas, they have to make a juxtaposition with reality someplace so that you know by empirical evidence that what you have said was reality is tested to be reality and proven to be reality. Now, if that was above some of your heads, I was throwing that out for a few out here that think that they are too intellectual for us. There are always a few who come in and think that they have.
Then I went on to do my chocolate ones. I know my cupcake tray is not full, but these were the extra chocolate ones that I needed to do.
Economic income picture, and they think that they can reach down to our drab existence and lift us up, lift us up, lift us up.
I was done with the cupcakes at around 10:30, and then at 11 on the dot, I started working on my cakes. So usually I use royal icing to stick my board and my cake when I'm dropping them off for the wedding, but for this time around I just opted to use ganache. So I'm using a piping bag to put an even layer of cream for each layer of cake. Also, I didn't trim the edges of these cakes because usually I trim so that once I start putting the cream, it's even amount on each, no matter where you cut the cake, there's an even amount of cream on each cake. But for these ones, I don't want that because I want some parts to show, like when I do the semi-naked, like very little cream on the sides, I want someone to be able to see like the layers of the cake, like have some of the layers sticking out a little, because as you can see at the moment, the layers, because of how I've put them onto the cake, some are bulging out a little, some layers. So instead of cutting that off so that it's perfectly cylindrical, I'm just letting it be, and then as you'll see, once I finish coating the cake, it will look perfect. Despite the fact that this isn't a tiered cake, I'm also putting skewers just to make sure my cake, because this is whipped cream, I don't want my cake layers to slide off from each other in case it gets hot, or in case during transportation there's trauma that might happen onto the cake. So the skewers are just to make sure that the cake stays intact the whole time during transportation and until cutting. And then I'm just putting cream onto the sides and just being completely uneven with it so that it doesn't end up being too much. I did the same thing with the small cake. So I usually check if my layers are going to be a little slanted or tilted before I start doing the creaming between the layers, because it will be much easier to fix it at this while they're still uniced than like trying to figure out which layer is slanted while decorating. Went ahead to pack the cupcakes. Each table had 8 guests, so my small boxes takes 4 cupcakes per box, so I packed 2 vanilla, 2 chocolate per box, and then I just iced them and closed the boxes so I could go put them in the fridge just to chill. Once I was done with my cupcakes, I went ahead and did the second coat of cream. Also, in case you're wondering, I'm using whipped cream for my cakes, and that's why it's so white. For the second coat, I've made sure to not over whip my cream. It's still a little bit too soft enough to apply on the cake. If I make it stiff completely, once it stays in the fridge overnight, it's going to crack up a little, and I'm trying to not do anything the next morning. So I left my cream a little bit soft, like somewhere between soft peaks and stiff peaks, but leaning more towards soft peaks. Also, this is what I meant by not trimming my cakes, because you can see on some parts you can barely see the cake, but on some parts you can see the entire layer. So that's why I didn't trim the sides. So for the second day, I started my day at 8:30 as I mentioned, and according to my camera roll, I finished at around 3 p.m. But that's decorating the cakes and the cupcakes, or packing the cupcakes and putting them in the fridge. So firstly, Firstly, as I said prior, I'm usually extremely nervous and anxious on the day of delivery. So, firstly, I couldn't sleep. I was still watching Netflix until I think midnight, and even then I still wasn't sleepy because my brain just works overtime when something important is happening. So because I get into my head a lot, I couldn't sleep. But then at like midnight or even 1 a.m. I've had to force myself, like, just, even if you don't sleep, just lay down. If sleep comes, it will come. If it doesn't, we'll just go to the wedding and buy a ton of caffeine. But I fell asleep, but at 4 a.m. my brain was just like, yeah, let's wake up or we'll be late. So I woke up at 4, but it was too early because remember, I'd finished decorating the cakes. All I had to do was pack because my uncle was going to drop me at the wedding. And I was having my breakfast at 6:30-ish, just waiting for him now to come pick me up, because remember, the only thing I need to do is put flowers and pack the cakes. Nothing else was needed to be done. Unfortunately, I did wake up on time. I did get dressed on time, but the things I was supposed to put my cakes in, I put my flowers. And then now, when I tried to put the clear thing, the thing couldn't fit. I genuinely tried everything I possibly could try, but it wasn't fitting and there's nothing I could do. I tried to remove the bottom flower because I thought maybe that's where my mistake is. So I tried again. And this time the thingy went all the way down. But then after it got down, it genuinely does not fit into its own thing. So my mom is here trying to help me out because by this time I was so frustrated. It's sticking onto my cake. Luckily, because of the flowers, the thing wasn't crashing into the cake. But for some reason, that clear thing was just not working. So unfortunately, the things just couldn't fit. My mom, we tried for over an hour and it refused. It didn't work. And by then I was so frustrated. If you know me, when I'm frustrated, basically my brain just shuts down. In case you're wondering why I'm struggling this much, maybe your thought process is, let me even bring. So while my mom and I were trying to figure out how this thing works, here's how it comes. It had a ribbon, I just took that off. It has a board here, like the gold board, and then it has a white board, and I feel like this white board is the problem. It genuinely is the problem. But here's the thing, the gold board is 10 inches, the white board is 8 inch, my cake is 6 inches, so there's genuinely no reason for my cakes not to fit. So it comes this and the clear thing, and then there was ribbon on them, and then there's a lid. The whole thing is perfect. So maybe you'll be wondering, why didn't you test it out before before delivery day, because remember, I've been singing the song. All I want to do on delivery day is wake up, put flowers on my cake, and then just box up and I'm ready to leave. So I knew I had literally like 10, 15 minutes, 30 minutes max of work, hence why I was ready by 6:30, because there's nothing else, there's nothing terrifying I need to do. I even boxed up one of them. Like, I've not touched this since that morning of the wedding. So this one was ready. This is, so see, it comes, these are the ribbons from all the others. So here it is. You put this on top. So, or rather, so it was this. I just slip that in and then put the lid and then wrap the ribbon. So, because also my mom asked me, why did you receive the items and didn't check if they were okay before the morning of delivery? I'm like, of course I did. I had to confirm. I even checked, like, immediately I received them, because those people who don't complain after. I like giving you feedback immediately I receive something, because if it's the wrong size, before the person you sent to deliver leaves, he can go back with it if it's the wrong color. So I did check. I didn't tell the person thank you. Even the height is fine. I just didn't expect that the contraption just won't work on that day. We tried everything. Our next option was, because I didn't want to take off my cake. So my mom and I were thinking, see, the cake was already stuck here. She was telling me to put on top of the cake another cake board and then flip my cake and then plop the cake like that and flip it. But that wouldn't have worked, because how would I flip it from here? But anyways, so that, it just started a butterfly effect, because I was already so nervous prior to, like, the day. It just started a butterfly effect. I just started feeling like I don't even want to go. And I was just now proper stressed out, because I was like, okay, couldn't sleep. So now the energy I had, the psych I had, the motivation I had started dipping. Now I was just like, what do I do? So lucky for me, before I ordered for these ones, I'd ordered for others that were peach, the ones that I ended up using. But after I ordered them and they were delivered, this was like 2 weeks before the wedding. On the week, no, a few days to the wedding. Yeah, I think the week of the wedding. As I was talking to the bride finalizing, she said something about everything being white. And in my head, I was like, the cake thingies I'd bought were peach. Do I want to use those ones? And then I also convinced myself that maybe if I go with the peach ones, they'd be like a different peach, because peach to me and the person who made them, I loved them, but then I was like, what if we get to the wedding and they're the wrong like shade of peach? So what do I do? So I just told, my mom was telling me, since the person who made these ones for me is on the way to the venue for the wedding, to just call them and tell them they don't fit, if they could give me like the wrapping thing, like return these ones, they exchange for me, and then I go to the wedding. But then that didn't seem like an option, because if I was to return them, I'd rather give the person time to fix it instead of rushing them. And if they're late, one of us is going to be extremely upset, and probably me, because if they delay and then I'll end up delaying at the wedding, becomes an even now worse effect than it had already started. So I was just like, it's okay, let me use the peach ones, and then when I get to the wedding, if the peach I have and the peach the bride is doing for her wedding are not the same, or she genuinely didn't want anything peach, it's easier to explain what went wrong than to have nothing at all. So luckily I had those peach ones. Also, I had ordered for the wrong size since my cakes were 6 inches. I don't know what I was thinking when I ordered for 10-inch ones, but luckily they were extremely big, so I had room for all the things to go wrong. And yeah, so I didn't end up filming the rest of the morning because I struggled with that one cake for over half an hour. And my uncle kept time. He called me at 7, told me he's almost there. He was here by 7:30 or 7:20, 7:30. So he even found I'm not dressed. I was still drinking my coffee, I think. But luckily he helped. Since I'd finished packing everything else, he just helped me put them in the car while I finished up the boxing, since that now didn't take too long once I got into the right mindset. And now I had 2 people helping me out with the finishing up. So now we're heading to the wedding, and then you'll watch a time lapse of me setting up with the help of my bestie and my uncle. So after telling you everything that happened, in the wedding cake series, one of the parts between 1 and 4, I had mentioned that if you're going to go for a wedding cake delivery, go with someone who you can rely on or who will motivate you or bring your mood back up in case anything goes wrong. Luckily for me, I had my mom in the morning. Like, as I said in one of the previous videos, she's very solution driven, and once it was figured out, she was like, okay, you're fine now. And then when my uncle came and saw that I was still like, I hadn't gone back to being as hyper as I probably would be, he just said, you finish up, get dressed, I'll pack for you. So he did that for me. And then at the wedding, my bestie, she was here because the wedding is a friend's wedding, so she was we were both guests at the wedding. So she helped me out with cleaning my things and the setup. So that's why I was saying go with someone who you can rely on, because if I didn't have those 3, my mom, my bestie and my uncle, I don't think Noon would not have come without me possibly crying and giving up. But yeah, there was 0 hitches past that. Everything just went perfectly well. So these are the peach boxes that I ended up using, and the relief I felt when I got to the venue, the peach that I had bought matches with the tablecloth. I'm just wrapping the cake boxes. At this point, I'm just wrapping the cake boxes, like 2 boxes with 1 ribbon. So the people who are going to help with serve 1 bundle. I don't know if I mentioned it during part 1 to 4 of the series. Always remember to carry a bin or something that you can use as a bin, because you don't want to litter at someone's wedding, considering at this stage the reception hasn't even started, so you don't want to be setting up and throwing things on the ground. So I had a box that I was putting the trash in, and then so it now becomes easier. Once we're done, we just take the box and put it in the car. So I just went around the cake table so you can see how the arrangement ended up being. You can see how I wrapped the cupcakes, the main cake, the giveaway cakes, and a few cupcakes that were just for display. So yeah, that's basically how everything went from beginning on Wednesday until the delivery. So the cake was at the display table from, let's say, 10 a.m. but basically let's say from 8:30 a.m. because that's when I took it out of the fridge to put it in the car. From 8:30 a.m. until cake cutting was done at around either 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. That's why I always advocate, if you're going to do a wedding, I don't prefer doing like fruit fillings, because if the cake isn't going to be refrigerated that's close to 10 hours. By the time that cake is being cut, I don't think the inside will be as fresh. That's why I said these cake flavors I'm not pro doing for weddings and also fillings. So that's it, and I genuinely do hope that you've learned something. I hope I was able to explain myself well during the process. And main purpose of this was to also guide you between episode 1 to 4 of that series, the wedding cake series, to kind of explain myself better with what I meant during those 4 clips. At this point, I don't remember which one is part 1 and which one is part 4, but hopefully you'll be able to understand what I meant by working backwards. Going with someone you trust, like your support system, especially if you need an assistant, time management, checklist, all that. I'm genuinely hoping this will help you understand that. And if there's any questions that you have, if there's any comments, please feel free to put them down below. But yeah, that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned something. So until next time, bye.